Well, hello and welcome back. We are now in stream two of today's Digital Fundraising Summit, and I'm delighted to welcome Jen Lowthrop, who will be telling us how to fundraise using social media in 25 minutes. Obviously, we are obviously delighted to welcome Jen. Before I hand over to you, Jen, I'm really hoping that people have had the chance to introduce themselves in the chat. If not, please do so. My name is Lisa Chamet. Obviously, I'm the stream host for those of you who have joined the Salesforce session earlier. And for audio description purposes, for the ones who are just joining us now, I'm a 33-year-old Black woman with black hair, and I'm wearing a Charity Digital t-shirt. Before I hand over, a few house rules. Obviously, the session will be recorded. Slides will be made available later on. You remember, yeah, you can upvote for your favorite question in the Q&A section, and please feel free to ask plenty of questions for Jen. If there are any sound or image issues, just let us know in the chat section, and we'll do our very best to get back on track. And obviously, today's session by Jen will explore what charities can do in 25 minutes to move their fundraising forward. And I'm joined by Jen, who is digital consultant and agile coach at Feel Good, Do Good. Welcome, Jen. Hello.
Hi, thank you, Lisa, and hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be here with you today. So, as Lisa said, I'm going to be sharing some really simple tips for how you can kind of move your digital fundraising forward in just 25 minutes a day. So just easy little things. You probably know some of this stuff already, but I think sometimes those kind of like ideas of kind of, oh, I've got a spare half an hour. What could I do with my time? So hopefully it'll just kind of spark some new ideas, and maybe after this session you could just set your timer and do 25 minutes and move something forward. So just to introduce myself. So as Lisa said, I am Jen. I am a digital and agile consultant and also a facilitator. I've worked in the charity sector since I started working, which was too long ago now. I think about 18 years, 19 years ago. And I've pretty much always worked in the charity sector with little bits of time in public sector as well, largely working on digital and marketing projects. And now I do a lot of kind of overarching strategy and facilitation for organizations as well. I am a confessed productivity geek. It can sometimes be that word these days is a little bit contentious. We don't have to be productive all the time. But at the same time, I genuinely believe it helps us feel good when we've kind of ticked things off our list and got things moving. And I love to kind of bring my work into like shorter spaces of time, be really productive so that I can then go and enjoy myself, get outside in nature or whatever it might be. So that's a little bit about me. As Lisa said, if you haven't already, do introduce yourself in the chat. I can't actually see that chat myself, but hopefully you're all chatting away in there, because this is as much about kind of networking with each other as it is about learning from us. So yeah, say who you are, what organisation you're from, and whatever else you want to share. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to be sharing 10 simple tips to improve your digital fundraising in 25 minutes a day today. So why 25 minutes? Well, some of you may have heard of the Pomodoro technique. This is my favorite productivity hack. It's really super simple, and it's basically setting a timer for 25 minutes, doing one focused piece of work. So you pick one task and you focus on it for 25 minutes, and then you can take a 5-minute break, and then you can do that again. And normally you could do like 4 in a row, but sometimes you just need to do one just to kind of move something forward. So it's called the Pomodoro technique because it's based on those kind of old school kitchen timers that look like a tomato. So you can kind of turn the physical timer. I also run a co-working space in Matlock, and we have one on the shelf, and we often do collective Pomodoros when we're struggling. So it's a really great productivity technique when you're just really stuck with something. You're like, right, I'm going to put my phone away. I'm not going to look at my emails. I'm just going to focus on this one task. And I honestly still every day that I do this get surprised how much I can get done in 25 minutes when I'm really focused, because we are distracted all the time with so many different things, our phone notifications popping off, emails, links, blogs we want to read. There's just always lots of stuff. So when we really focus, we really can get a lot done. If you don't have the actual timer, there's loads of apps. You can just like literally Google Pomodoro technique, and there's like a free timer on various websites that you can just say press start for 25 minutes or put 25 minutes on your phone. Super easy, so you don't really need anything to make this happen. So that's why 25 minutes. But anyway, now we're going to get on to the 10 tips. So number one, why am I not? There we go. Oh, just before I started, I just added this in. I think these recordings and slides will be shared, but these are things that take longer than 25 minutes that I just thought are quite good things to kind of set yourself up for success in digital marketing. Um, so templates, creating your templates for your social media, you may already have this, but sometimes when you just need to pop in a new video or pop in a new quote or text on your template, it can make things much easier rather than kind of scrabbling around. Building your content plan, I'm not going to go into that. You know, you might be planning your key campaigns throughout the year. The most important one that I think all charities I work with struggle with is getting an image library. Spending the time to get good quality images that you have all the rights for, that you know you've got permission to use people's faces for whatever it might be. Then obviously they might not all have faces, but faces do work well, particularly with fundraising. Having that ready and organized in a way that you can easily find images of this project or images of that project can save so much time. It is worth the effort to set it up. It takes definitely longer than 25 minutes, but is something definitely worth it. Having clear roles within an organization, if you do need sign off, knowing where to go and when you can get sign off, social media policy, and of course, making use of your volunteers that can help, particularly with some of that imagery and ideas and stories and things. Anyway, that's super quick. I want to get on to the 10 tips. So number one is personas. So I love a persona when I'm working on my own social media content for my business, my co-working space, my consultancy, and also when I've worked with a lot of charities on theirs. I think it's one of the key things to help understand your audience. And these don't have to be massive tasks. This is why I've put this in the kind of 25 minutes, just scribble something on a piece of paper, or you can put something, this is a Canva template. It's a CV template on Canva that I've used. So just spend 25 minutes thinking of one of your personas. So when you're thinking about your digital fundraising, is it you're thinking of someone who might do a sponsored event for you, or maybe you're thinking of a major donor, or maybe you're thinking of a corporate that you're trying to connect with on LinkedIn. So pick your kind of persona and then really think about who that person is and what it is that they want from you. What's going to make them want to donate to you? And then think about what it is that you want from them and see where that kind of like match comes when it comes to the content that you might produce for them. Everyone likes to say that their audience is everyone. Your audience is not everyone. And if you try and target your social media to everyone, you're probably not going to reach anyone. You're better kind of really focusing in on some of those key personas, those key demographics of people that you're trying to connect with. I do sometimes base these on a particular person that I might have in my mind. So maybe you know a regular donor or something. Don't use their real name and don't make any kind of distinguishable things that it's them. But this isn't to be shared publicly, but still it can really help when you've got a particular person in your mind that you're kind of trying to connect with. But yeah, these can be really great. You can tart them up with you can draw a picture, whatever it might be. And I like to stick these on my wall sometimes when I'm working on my kind of social media content. So I'm like, what would Helen want? What would really work for Helen? And really kind of getting into their mindset. I've got a little template here. So again, you can kind of screenshot this or you'll have access to the slides. But this is a super simple template. And again, 25 minutes is all it takes. And those things at the bottom, the top bit is all about who they are, what demographic, what age, where do they live, that kind of stuff. But the bottom is where you're really thinking about the content that you're sharing. So, what do they want? What do you want? And what do they really love? But also, what really annoys them? Because then, when you're creating that content, you can be checking that you're not kind of going too far with what annoys them and you're really honing in on what it is that they want from this. So, that's number one. Number two, look at your analytics. Now, this is something that is can be a big and scary thing. Big organizations, you may well have full-time analysts or who knows, but just doing something really simple, you can learn a lot from it. So my favorite thing is the what worked well, what didn't go well, and what have I learned. So just spend 25 minutes looking at maybe your last 10 posts on Instagram or your last 10 posts on Facebook and seeing, right, what worked well, which post got the most engagement, what was it about this post that you think worked? So was it that there was some really great faces? Was there humor in the post? What was it that really connected with people? And then look at some of your posts that didn't do so well and maybe didn't get so much engagement and think, oh, well, that was just a text post. There wasn't a very good image. What was it that didn't go well? And then from that, okay, what have I learned from looking at spending 25 minutes looking at your analytics? What have I learned from these things? So, yes, you can go in and look at all your percentages and numbers and all of that, and that can be really useful. But sometimes just looking at the obvious of what's worked, what hasn't worked, and what have I learned can actually, you can gain as much really useful information that you can then go ahead and be like, right, this is what I've learned. I'm now going to go off and try and create more posts like this because we know that these have done really well. So that's number two. Number three, run a little creativity session. This is one of my favourite things to do. I've done it a couple of times in my co-working space with fellow co-workers that have nothing to do with what I'm doing. I've got photographers, I've got people who work in the travel industry, I've got software developers. And sometimes I'm like, right, guys, can you give me 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and just help me with some ideas? And often, the more removed they are from what you do, the more creative those ideas might be. So it's great to get your team together, absolutely. But sometimes, like you could get your friends together, or your housemates, or your family, or whoever it might be, and just be like, right, 25 minutes of your time. So this is just an idea of how you might split up that 25 minutes. Obviously, it's kind of up to you. You could have 5 minutes just explaining what it is you're trying to get out of the session. You might have a particular campaign coming up. So you want to say the big give. Maybe you've signed up for the big give. So you've got the big give coming up. You're fundraising. You want to raise £10,000 for towards a van to deliver food, whatever it might be. This is the campaign. Right, let's come up with some really creative ideas to get that going. I really like when I do these creative sessions to let people have a bit of time in their own head first. So give them 5 minutes of, right, sit down. This is what I want you to do. Just write whatever ideas you can. Then give them 5 minutes in twos or threes and get them to share their ideas. And I really like the positive way of looking at things, of rather than people tend to instantly see that, oh, that's not going to work. Oh, we've tried that before. So instead of being the negative side, be like, oh, yes, and then maybe add something else and encourage that kind of positivity and kind of growing those ideas from just a simple idea and kind of like, oh, we could add to it, or we could, and we could do this, yes, and we could do this. And it's really amazing how those ideas can expand with multiple brains thinking of them together. And then you might want to quickly share your favorite ideas from each pair or each group, and then you could vote on them and be like, right, these are the top three, we've all voted, these are the three posts that we're going to go ahead and do. And honestly, you could spend hours doing that, but sometimes just doing it in a short space of time, it's amazing what you can come up with. I've put at the bottom here, I feel like it would be remiss of me to not mention AI in this session. I have a lot of personal concerns of climate and all of that when it comes to AI. but there are a lot of benefits. So if you don't have a group of people, you could just ask AI and get it to come up with some ideas. So there's an idea at the bottom of kind of one of the questions that you could ask it. Often the better the question, the better your answer is going to be. So trial different questions and sharing information. You could share a link to your Instagram or whatever it is. You could share a link to your campaign page on a website so that they have more ideas as to what it is you're trying to get out of it. So that's another option. Just ask AI. And these are a few kind of idea starters. So when you're thinking of that creativity session, be like, right, I want to come up with video ideas. I want to come up with blog posts. I want to have stories. I want to have user generated content. How can we get that? So you could focus in on a particular area, or you could just share something like this as like, these are some ideas of the kinds of content that you might want to think about. Okay, so number 4, create a reel. Okay, this is maybe quite obvious. It could be a TikTok as well. I feel a lot of organizations still get quite nervous of video content and feel it needs to be all, fancy and edited and beautiful. But I think a lot of us know by now that reels can be 3, 5 seconds long and can be spread wide and far and can really have a big impact. So a lot of these, the thing I like about the 25-minute challenge is I think it sometimes gets us out of our own head of overthinking, because you're kind of like, actually, right, I've got 25 minutes and I've got to get something done. Because otherwise, if we give ourselves 3 hours, we'll probably spend 2.5 hours second guessing ourselves, questioning, thinking about whether we should or shouldn't do that. Sometimes it's good just to be like, right, go with that yes and yes, I could try this. Yes, let's give it a go. So try not to overthink it and just create something really simple, really quick. It could be filming your colleagues in the office, showing kind of what backstage is like. You could be at an event and quickly like do 4 clips and smush them together using Instagram's inbuilt editor. You can use templates on Instagram and create a reel super quick using a template. But when you're doing it, think about what is it that's going to make it shareable? What is it that's going to make people engage with it? There's some examples along the bottom here of organisations that can have done some quite good reels. So NSPCC, Mary Curie, Shelter. Have a look at some of the organisations and see what they're doing. And even if these big organisations might have big budgets, their videos are definitely, some of them might be, but a lot of them are not done with big budgets. You just kind of need a phone, pick some music and just go for it. And I really think it's amazing like how far some of these videos can go. So don't overthink it, just give it a go. Number 5, promote a Facebook birthday fundraiser. So hopefully lots of you are already on Facebook in terms of having the donate button. I know with the charity that I'm chair of, it took a long time to get there because things went wrong right at the start, and Facebook can be quite hard to communicate with. So if you haven't got it set up, it's worth kind of that effort of getting there, because once you've got it, it's then really easy for people to donate to you. And birthday fundraisers are a really easy, great way for some of your engaged supporters to raise just small amounts of money for you that can quite quickly add up. So a couple of things to remember. Ultimately, when you're thinking of the thing that's good about birthday fundraisers is proximity to cause. So the people that you're trying to connect with to do these are likely to be the people that are really connected with your cause. So if they're going to do a fundraiser for their birthday, they're going to have a connection. So it might be you're a cancer charity and either themselves or someone close to them has had cancer, and so they want to do a fundraiser. So something that's really kind of connected with them. So for example, the charity that I'm chair of, the Peak District Foundation, I live in the Peak District, so I'm close and I love supporting the national park that I live next to. And then secondly, proximity to social judgment, which is a bit of a controversial one maybe, But the fact is, when you see a friend has put a Facebook birthday fundraiser and they start to see people donating, you're kind of like, oh, I suppose I need to donate too. It's visible, it's there. You can see kind of how their fundraiser is kind of ticking along. So that's why these fundraisers can be a really great way to kind of grow both grow your funding, but also kind of grow your following, because they're sharing it directly with their friends, with their connections. So yeah, so promote it, put something on your newsletter, on your own Facebook page, encouraging people like, oh, did you know you could do a fundraiser? Why not fundraise for us? So here's again in the 15 minutes, how in the 25 minutes, how you could do this. So 15 minutes, create a post saying how you do it and why they should do it, why it's beneficial. And then 10 minutes kind of also add it to your newsletter. And I'm going to come to point 7 in a moment. I've put that as an extra 10 minutes, but thanking people who have already done one is another really great way to promote them. Again, you see other people have done them. Oh, maybe I'll do one too. And I've got a screenshot here from the Encephalitis Society. It was a while ago. I ran a session and there was someone from this organization there, and they're quite a small organization, but they have because it's quite a rare thing, encephalitis, they have quite a close connected group of followers and supporters. And I can't remember the exact amount, but this was a couple of years ago or so now, but they were raising over £2,000 a month from Facebook fundraisers. They made that a big part of their fundraising strategy. So though it could be, somebody might be trying to raise £30, if you've got, I don't know the maths, but 100 people raising £30, it can quickly kind of grow to quite high amounts of money. So it might take time to grow that, but yeah, kind of spending 25 minutes reminding people every so often that they can do it can be really helpful. Number 6, create 3 posts. It might end up being just one, but create a post or 2 or 3 using a story. So I think, again, we all know how valuable stories are when it comes to fundraising. People want to hear that really kind of engaging content, excuse me, where they really see the difference that your organization is making. So moving away from that kind of transactional content, when you're doing fundraising, it's not about fundraise for us, donate to us. Often I'd say kind of 80% of your posts probably don't want to have donate in them, but instead be sharing those stories that kind of connects with people and makes them want to donate. So thinking about kind of why your organization is here, what is it that you're doing to deliver your vision and mission, and how you can frame it in a really emotional and relatable way. So those real life stories that you're sharing, kind of, look, this is what we did. Nordoff Robbins is an organization that I've worked with in the past, and they do this really well. And it's part of their whole kind of marketing plan with the whole organization, that everyone has to be always sending in stories. So they have a lot of music therapists, and it's part of the music therapists' job descriptions that they have to be regularly sharing those stories of the people that they have supported through their music therapy. So they've always got that kind of flow of stories coming through. So you might get a story from someone, then it's about turning it into a post. So how can you really kind of empathize with people? I've put here kind of jeopardy and conflict. So kind of, what is it that's going to prevent this from continuing? Because that's what you want to, how this is really important, that we continue to support people like Elman, who is in this photo. So think about what really makes that story memorable, and just spend some time like writing a couple of paragraphs that would go with a really nice image, and getting that up there can be super worth the time. Number 7. So I said I was coming back to number 7. So thank your current donors. So altruistic reciprocity is, I like this quote. Sometimes it takes a moment to get it in your head. He that has once done you a kindness will be more ready to do you another than he whom yourself has obliged. So it basically means if someone has already donated to you, they're more likely to donate again than someone that you have maybe done something nice for. Which is interesting, but it's kind of your current donors, your most engaged followers are the ones that are more likely to continue to donate to you. So if you want to kind of keep connected to them, you really need to thank them. So could you create a thank you post online for your donors? Maybe people on your if people are doing birthday fundraisers, you could spend 5 minutes kind of responding to people that have commented on somebody's birthday fundraiser, or share somebody's birthday fundraiser, thanking them for doing it in the first place. It might be that you've had some donations come in for a project, and make sure you are saying thank you. Like, okay, look, we've reached our target, or thanks so much to everyone who's donated so far. We're £500 away from our target. Thanking people, just making sure that you are regularly putting a bit of time aside to say thank you publicly, not necessarily naming people by name. Some people may be publicly okay with that, some people may not, but making sure that you are kind of regularly spending that time to thank people, because those who have already done something are likely to be like, oh yeah, they said thank you, they're pleased, they're, my money did this good thing, now I'm going to help do more of that good thing. So yeah, making sure you're saying thank you. This one I've kind of alluded to already, but stop asking for money. A lot of digital fundraising, it's not about kind of constantly saying, and please donate, and please donate, and here's my donate button. It's that connection. It's people want those stories, and it takes time. It's not a case of they follow you, they donate. We know about the marketing funnel. It takes time to kind of take people through that to the point that they're actually willing to give you their money. So instead, rather than one way you could spend your Pomodoro 25 minutes is making sure that your website is clearly findable. So when people are looking at your social media, if something really connects with them, is your donate button on the Facebook page? Is it linked to on your Instagram? Is it like linked in your newsletter? So that people can really easily donate if they want to. Make it easy for them. So just spend a bit of time making sure that things are all like in order. It could be that you encourage signups to your newsletter. Newsletters are the one place where we get to kind of directly go into people's inboxes. So is that clear on your Facebook? Is that clear on your Instagram or whatever it might be? Are you regularly kind of sharing that as, oh, and sign up to our newsletter? Could it be in people's email signatures? Or even kind of, rather than it just being in your email signature, when you're emailing people, be like, oh, and if you'd like to keep up to date, sign up to our newsletter. When it's a kind of little personal thing at the end of an email, it can really kind of make a difference to just kind of being generically in other places. Or it could be that you're just creating other posts that is telling people why your organization exists or how you're spending your money. So really showing the kind of impact that you're making, because it's that impact and difference that is going to encourage people to want to donate. Number 9, sign up to easy fundraising. There's also, I think the giving machine still exists. There used to be Amazon Smile, but I believe that stopped last year. I'm not sure if there are other ones, but it's worth kind of digging around. So easy fundraising, if you don't know already, you kind of register your organization on it, and then people, when they shop on a lot of different websites, you will get, if they click on it beforehand, you will then get a small amount of money. So this is the charity that I'm chair of, and we've raised over £1,000. It has taken a couple of years, three years or so for that to happen. However, we haven't really promoted it that much. So you can do a lot more, like build some ambassadors that kind of tell their friends to sign up to easy fundraising. There is a plugin. So I have a plugin on my Google Chrome, so that it automatically pops up. If there's a website that is connected to easy fundraising, I'll have when I go on that website, so say it's like booking.com or bookshop.org, when I go on, it'll pop up with like, do you want to donate 2%, 1%, or whatever to easy fundraising? And I click that, and then it just kind of reloads the page. And then whenever I buy anything from those websites, my charity will get a cut. So just spend a bit of time kind of thinking about how you can make that work. It could be that you sign up to it. If you haven't already, it could be that you create a post kind of telling people that it exists and that they can share it. You could create a post kind of or add something to your newsletter, encouraging ambassadors who want to kind of share that with their friends, because obviously the more people you have that are on it, the quicker you can make a decent amount of money. You can also, I don't know if I haven't actually looked in the last couple of months, but you used to be able to it used to be a bit competitive. So I could see that I was at the top of the easy fundraising for my charity, which kind of made me be like, oh, I need to remember to click the button so that I stay at the top, because I'm beating other volunteers that are maybe raising money for my charity as well. So that can be quite fun as well. And also you can do it yourself for your own charity. So sign up yourself, and when you're buying stuff, you could be raising a few pounds for your organisation. And then finally, how am I doing on time? Good. The coffee strategy. So this is just make yourself a cup of coffee, sit with your phone or sit on your computer and just spend a bit of time engaging on social media as your organisation. I've put here, remember, I think we forget this. It's called social media for a reason. It is meant to be social. And I know these days it can be a bit of a divisive place at times. But hopefully in your organization you can kind of bring some of that positivity, so maybe connect with other similar charities. Like, I know we can feel like we're in competition, but ultimately we're often all here for similar causes, and connecting with people can be really beneficial. So find some, maybe it's hashtags, people, organizations, keywords that are relevant to your organization, and see what's happening out there. So connect with other people online. Maybe like leave a comment, a reply, and just kind of keep doing that a few times while you drink your coffee. And you never know what might come back. So I think we're like, oh, I don't have time to do that. But again, just take 25 minutes, have your coffee or your tea. I'm a tea drinker, and see where you can get to. So finally, just a super quick bonus. This probably wouldn't work if you're a ginormous organization that gets hundreds of messages every day. But if you've got 15 minutes, 3 things to do: respond to your messages, so your replies, your shares, your direct messages, thank people, whatever it might be. Engage with people, like the coffee strategy, just do a couple of likes and comments. And then just double check if you're scheduling your posts, is everything in place? Are you all ready to go? And is there any last minute news? So actually that post that I've scheduled is probably not appropriate anymore. I need to pause that and do something different. So set a timer and just do like a quick each morning check in on some of the key things. So yeah, speedy whiz through of ideas. Hopefully there's some new ideas that are in there for you. There's obviously things that can take a lot longer, but if the main takeaway is just set that Pomodoro timer, make a plan for what you're going to do, and just see what you can achieve in 25 minutes that can bump your digital fundraising forward. Okay, so that is me. Thank you, everyone. I think there's about 5 minutes for questions. So if you've got any questions, I think you have to make sure you put them in the question tab so that I can see them. And maybe Lisa can help a bit with that as well. But yeah, if there's any questions, let me know.
Yes. Am I live now? Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much, Jen. Thank you. That was brilliant, brilliant presentation. We got 5 minutes and we got loads of questions, so I'll dive straight in for you.
Okay.
So the first one is, do you have any advice on how to encourage charity beneficiaries to share their stories about how they have been supported on social media, and particularly when it comes to sensitive information like healthcare?
Mm. So, do you mean so how to encourage beneficiaries to want to share their
Yes, so
stories?
so so
Yeah,
user-generated content, I would
yeah.
mainly say. Yeah. Mm.
Okay. So I think one of the main things is, though with social media, faces is obviously a great kind of engagement tool. People like to see people's faces. When it can be something quite personal, they often don't want to share their face. So I think if there's ways that you can, ideas that you can give to people for how they could share stuff without their face. So organizations, if you have a bit more money or time, you could do kind of videos that are kind of cartoon, not cartoon, you know what I mean, digital imagery of somebody talking. It could be their actual voice, but it could be a shadow. It could be the back of their head. It could
Mhm.
be that they're just sharing kind of quotes, but either don't have a name or have a different name. So I think kind of encouraging people that they don't have to completely show up in themselves if they don't feel comfortable. So giving them ideas for other ways, like, are you willing to share your story under a pseudonym or with a shadow or whatever it might be? Because I think that can still be really engaging when you've got, I think voiceover with without seeing the face is a particularly good one.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And sorry, everyone, I'm conscious that the function to upvote questions may have some issues, but don't worry, we're on it. So yes, so moving on to the following question. We are a very small team, and not a great deal happens that is different day to day. So any tips on how people can come up with content when, it's quite quiet?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think do the creativity session as a
Mm.
starting point, because even if things are you don't have loads happening, there's probably stuff that's happened in the past that you could talk about. There might be kind of ideas you've got for the future. Um, yeah, and I think that's where, if you are small, getting other people involved that maybe aren't directly connected with your charity, to get them to come up with ideas can be really quite interesting to see what other
Mm.
people see. You might want to also look at similar organizations to yourself, see what they're doing and what might be working for them. um yeah, I had another idea, but it's just gone out my head. Yeah, I'll sorry,
Yeah,
stop
no,
there.
don't
Hope
worry.
that's
That's all already very helpful. And then I guess probably have a if you build out a calendar, maybe that can also help you see a bit further in advance, where you can
yeah,
see awareness days or other
exactly.
events that you maybe your cause might be related to, so that can give you a little bit of areas to comment and to post on. We'll go
100%.
with one more question. How do you decide who your target audience is when it comes to fundraising? Of course, we'd like everyone to be a donor for us. So we need to decide who our most likely donors would be and make them our target audience. That's from Florence.
Okay, so I think start by looking at who has already donated.
Mm.
That is ultimately the best starting point, and see if there are any kind of groupings that are starting to form. Like, it depends obviously on the type of organization. So are you a local organization? So is it local people? Is it local businesses? Or are you a cause led? So like, what are the causes that you know people are going to be interested in? Is it an age related thing? Like, kind of thinking about looking at who's already donating and how can you kind of, is there groupings, and then targeting similar types of people, or kind of just really thinking about your cause or locality or whatever it might be, and kind of starting to target those groups. You've probably got ideas in your head, which is why that kind of persona is quite a good way to try and put those things on paper and give it a go. Target something at someone you think could be your audience and see how well it works. Do a few posts, and if it's not working, kind of be like, okay, well, maybe actually our target audience is wider than that, or whatever it might be. But yeah,
Super.
hopefully that helps.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. That's all we've got time for today. Thank you again very much, Jen, for your time and for sharing these very insightful tips. We'll make sure we'll share the other questions with you, so you can answer them, and we'll find a way to have your answers showing as well. So that don't worry, your question won't be forgotten. But yeah, we've had loads of questions for you, and it was really great welcoming you. So yeah, thank you again.
Fab. Thanks so much, Lisa, and thanks everyone, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Next.